And hello and welcome. My name is Martin, and today what we're going to be doing is using the same visibility tool that we used in the previous tutorial to cut the hole for the cave, and then to decorate the entrance of the cave and actually make something that looks like a cave. Okay, so to do this, I've actually set up a little area over here that's got some rock, some mixture of rock and grass going on with the landscape material, and I'm actually going to cut the hole right here for the entrance to the cave. So again, I'm going to have to go into modes. We're going to go into landscape. We'll go into sculpt. We'll go into visibility, and we'll go ahead and just hit left click once. And I just want to see how big of an area that's going to give me. Because the other thing too, and I'll have you notice, is that as you move the brush up or down the edge, you see how sometimes it's a little bit taller and sometimes it's a little bit smaller. What that is being based off of is the grid that's in the background. So if we go back to click here and go to wireframe, you'll see that the area up there is more stretched than the area down here. Oops, let's go back. And so, oh, okay. Well, and I made another hole up there and I didn't intend to do that. So let's hold shift and add that space back in. Okay. And I'm going to assume that that's tall enough for our character to be able to get through. Let me just see if I can make it just a little bit taller. And I think that will be definitely enough to be able to get us through that area. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to decorate the front of this cave. So I'm going to go to static mesh, and I'm going to type in rock. It should only be giving me, why is it giving me, oh, because I still have materials lit. Okay, that's why. It's like it shouldn't be giving me both. Okay, depending on which one of the packs you've downloaded, you'll have different types of rocks. Basically what I'm looking for would be flat ones, if I can. And really you can just play around until you find ones that you like. I think I actually do have a cave pack. So let's say we grab this one, we'll throw it out there. Okay, so we'll wait for that. There we go. All right, so this is one of those situations where you could probably use scale and get away with it. What we need to do is make this thing large enough. So I'm going to go back to the select tool, and I'm going to select the object, and I'm going to switch over and grab all three of the vertices and just really make that really big, and then push that in to set up some type of a cave entrance. Now, because this rock, because we're only going to see as a player certain angles of this rock, what you could do is maybe use this rock a couple of times. So I'm going to hold control, I'm sorry, nope, not control, alt, and drag out and make another instance or copy of that rock. Maybe rotate it just a little bit. Okay, and maybe with this one what we'll do is we'll grab the up and stretch it just a little bit, not too much. We don't want to stretch it so much that it doesn't look. Okay, we'll push that back. All right, so we got something nice going on there. Now, obviously, if our character walks through this, they're going to walk right through and then fall off the edge. So we don't want that to happen. So normally what I'll do in a situation like this is I will go and get a geometry, a box, place the box on the floor, and then from here make this the cave floor, sort of like what we did over there with the house, where we had sort of like a flat geometry that we used. So let's go ahead and make this, let's say 1000 by 1000. And really it almost looks like our cave is so big, because if that's 1000 by 1000, that's going to be a pretty big area. So let's make this 5000 by 5000, and that's going to definitely be a lot better. Okay, so let's stick with that. Now again, this only has to be the entrance to the cave. It doesn't necessarily have to be the entire cave system. That cave system could actually be set up in a separate level. So really all we're doing here is creating the entrance to the cave that we need to sort of sell the effect of there being a cave in this level, or being a cave in this world. Game, I should say. There we go. That looks nice. I like the way that looks. Okay, I just want to see where the edge of the box is, and let's pull that there. And awesome. Okay. Now I may need to put some of the roof back on this, so I'm going to go back to modes, go back to landscape, go back to sculpt. I'm still in visibility. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller. Okay, remember to hold shift, and we can draw some of that back in. All right, so that should still be large enough for our character to be able to walk in. And now we have a floor. That's going to be definitely large enough for the character to walk in. Let's do something like that. Okay, so at this point, obviously what we want to do is we want to check. So let's go grab our character. So let me speed up the camera so we get there a little bit faster. Okay, let's go back to the select mode. So what I'm doing is I'm holding shift, so then that way I can move the character and see more or less which direction I'm going. Okay, I'm going to slow the camera back down. Okay, so we are at cave entrance, and that is definitely big enough for me to be able to walk through. Okay, now the obvious thing that happens is when we're playing as the character is that now we don't have the inside of the cave. We are seeing the back side of the landscape. So this is one of the reasons why I like to use the rocks. And we may need to either bring up the landscape a little, bring up this geometry a little bit, because it's not matching up with that landscape right there. So we can actually see through it too. So let's go ahead and do that. Now remember, when you have it, you can actually just go over to the location settings. Saw a little bit. Let me bring that up just a little bit more. So that's 121, negative 121. Let's go negative 115. And let's go ahead and push play. Yeah, there's a little bit left right there. There you don't see it so much. And at this point, we could probably just move this over just a little bit. And that should take care of most of that. Okay, good. So yeah, that's a pretty big wide cave entrance. Let's maybe pull one of these rocks in a little bit closer. You know, and this is all stylistic. I mean, you know, maybe you want a big cave entrance because you have some kind of big beast or something that's supposed to come out of it. And so it needs to be a big cave entrance. In my case, it doesn't really need to be one. Okay. The other thing too that we could to maybe sell this off a little bit would be find the material that this is made out of and use the same one. So again, we'll go back to modes, select, we'll select the landscape. All right, we would have to go to, you know what, because it's in the rock layer. So let's go to here and let's see which one of the rocks we used. So we use T-Rock. So we'll do that to find it. There it is right there. So let me go ahead and apply that. Okay. So because it's a geometry, we can go in there and we can play around with that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll jump back out of modes. We're in select. We'll select this. Let's grab this and make it, let's try 4. It's getting closer. It's not quite as wide as this. So let's go to 8. And that's getting closer. Just for fun, let's try 16. And that's about where we are with the other stuff. It's a little bit brighter. And if we need to, we can go ahead and grab that. And I think that's the only other side that we're going to see. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make the inside walls for the cave. If the cave's going to be large, you can do that, I suppose. The easiest way to do that, obviously, would be to grab more of these rocks and start to duplicate them. So we'll grab Alt, drag out, pull the cave wall this way. Okay, let's rotate this just a little bit so that the rocks look a little different. Let's actually pull the rocks a bit. And then all I want to do is make sure that there are no areas where we could see through. All right, very cool. So we can continue with this. So let's go ahead and make a cave then. Okay, so at this point we have our cave. We have at least the entrance, and if we walked into it, it would feel like we were actually, well, in this case, we would be in an outside cave where we could actually see above us. What I wanted to do was exactly this. I wanted to check to see if there were any areas inside the cave that may needed to be pushed down. So we already see an area there, another area here, and that actually looks okay. So let's go ahead and push those down. All right, very cool. There we go. Now the only thing, obviously, of course, is if we look up this way, we're going to see, again, the sky and the entrance to the cave. So what I'm going to do for the entrance of the cave is I'm going to grab another one of these rocks, and we're going to make another copy. I'm not closing up the entrance. I'm just going to tilt this, let's say 90 degrees this way, and then bring that up. Okay, so we still got the entrance to our cave. The only thing we need to do now is to put a ceiling to it. So this again could be done by grabbing one of these rocks. Let's make another copy. So again, I'm holding Alt and dragging out. Let's flip this over 180 degrees. Sorry, 90 degrees. Let's pull the rock up. Now, since this is going to be a ceiling, it doesn't really need to be super thick. So I'm going to squeeze the layer down. And then I'm going to make it big enough to be able to fit the whole area across the top. Oops, wrong one. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Let's go ahead and push play. Let's walk into our cave. Our cave now has a ceiling. What I want to do is I want to check and make sure again that I don't get any light leakage, or that we can see through the cave at any angle. So I'm going to keep going around the cave and seeing if there is any like right there. I see a little place where there's some light coming through. So let's go to this. Let's grab that and let's push this down just a little bit. Okay, let's push play again. Okay, that is indeed gone. I don't see it anymore. All right, very cool. Now, the only other thing that we have with this is, unfortunately, we can do this. Or no, we can't go through it? Oh, good. So it does have a blocking layer. And that would be the other thing, would be to walk up to the wall, See, like right there, there's an area where we can kind of see through the wall because of the way that our player is. We'll have to come back in here and create what's called a blocking volume. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And let me slow down my camera because that's a little bit too fast. A little bit too slow. Okay, so that was happening right here. This little area was allowing us to be able to see through. So we're going to go to volumes. We're going to go to blocking volume, and we're going to place this here. And what a blocking volume does, and let's see, where did it actually go? Did it go down here somewhere? Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to grab a volume, grab a blocking volume. Okay. Why did it put it way back there? Okay, we'll speed up the camera here in a minute. Okay, so there's my two blocking volumes over here for some reason. Let's delete one, let's grab the other one, and let's put it over where it needs to be. Somewhere way over there. Or actually, way over here. Okay, we'll slow down the camera so I don't keep overshooting this. So I think that was happening about right there. Okay, so while I set this, basically what a blocking volume is going to do is it's going to collide with our character and make sure that our character actually can't go through this. So it'll be basically, and you can even see there underneath collision settings where it says invisible wall. At the moment, we're not going to worry about collision settings. We will come back and talk about that at some other point. What I do want to do now is go ahead and shape this to fit the area that I'm looking for it to fit. So then that way the character or my first person player can't get close enough to this wall to be able to see through it. So let's go ahead and push play, and let's see if that indeed does stop us from being able to see through that wall. Okay, so as you remember before, I was able to actually go through a part of this, and we can actually feel the edge of that wall right here. Okay, but we're no longer able to get through it because of the blocking volume that we've set up. So as you do these, go through, check the blocking volumes, walk through your cave, but that's basically it. That allowed us to be able to generate and create a fairly nice space for a cave. It was fairly easy to do, and all we had to do was have the visibility mask on our for our layer for the landscape, so then that way we could actually indeed cut a hole and create the entrance to our cave, and one that looks realistic enough and fairly easy to do. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.